Welcome to the screencast on how to do research for students at northeaststate.edu. The purpose of this particular screencast is to introduce you to some of the functions built into Northeast State's online library catalog with the intention of helping you find credible, up-to-date, and useful research for any presentation or paper you might encounter throughout or beyond your college career. The easy way to get to our website for the library is to go to the homepage of northeaststate.edu, click on Students, drop down to Library, and it'll take you right there. If you want to skip that step, you can just say library.northeaststate.edu and that will bring you here as well. Now, the library is absolutely chock full of incredible resources that just are underutilized. You need to be in there using these resources to really make your student life simpler for you. Some of the suggestions I could make if you feel like you would learn better with a tutor, you can find one from our Learning Center. You can schedule an appointment with a librarian to have them walk you through the process. You can even, additionally, my favorite here, access citation guides. So if you're writing a paper in MLA, APA, or Chicago Turabian, there's some helps built right into the website to help you build your bibliography and structure your thoughts. I use those to this day. But what I'm going to spend my time focusing on will be the search the catalog box that's in the middle of this web page and walking you through how to go from a broad concept to specific research that is well cited and will support your case or presentation. First rule of thumb would be that you do need to begin broad. Do not type your entire topic or your entire thesis statement into a search box. While you think you might be giving the computer plenty of information to go on, your computer is not going to see it as a sentence. It's going to see each word as an individual search term, so it's going to bring back items for each of those terms. Therefore, if I typed in something like the historical significance of obsessive compulsive disorder in our nation's heroes, it'll bring back everything that has historical, everything that has significance, everything that has obsessive compulsive disorder, and nations and heroes. So you might be going through something like 600,000 different items or articles or books, none of which have anything to do with what you're trying to do. So starting off specific is actually damaging to your ability to find effective and credible research that is also peer-reviewed and manageable. As a reverse, what I encourage you to do is to start very simple and very broad, and then I will show you how to use the library tools to narrow it down from there. So I'm just going to search for OCD. I'm not even going to type the words out because I want them for my case to be together because it'll only bring back articles on OCD. If I click search, it'll bring back a certain amount of responses, and what will probably come back will be something, yep, about 36,000 different results. If you come up here, you can see. Now, I'm pretty sure none of us really have time to go through 36,000 results. If you do, I would like to trade lives with you. What you need to do is go over here on the right-hand side of your browser or web page and start tweaking your results. Now, if you click Expand Beyond Library Holdings, it's going to start looking for resources that are in partnered libraries or different ones like ETSU or some other local colleges. You probably will be okay with what we have here, but if you do want to expand your search, you're welcome to do so. The next thing you need to do is come down here to where it says availability and decide what type of resource you want it to bring back. Available online means that the research as an entirety, the whole article or book, is available online. I would suggest you check that. If I click in this blank box on the left-hand side, I'm telling the computer to bring that back. If I click on a red box, the red check mark on the right-hand side, I'm telling the computer to not bring me back any of those. So it kind of reduces what it will respond to you. I would recommend that you click available online and then peer reviewed. That way, peer review means that peers or experts in that field have reviewed that item and have found it to be credible, which means your research is more trustworthy. So I would always do that. Try to find items that are accessible online and also are peer reviewed. If you look up here in my results, that immediately cut it down into half. So that's a little bit more manageable. To tweak a little bit further, we come down here to materials. So materials, it would be the type of research. Is it an article? Is it a book review? Is it a video? Is it something from a conference or a chapter out of a book? Or is it an entire journal dedicated to that title? Whatever it is, I would go ahead and click the ones you do want, or what for me is easier is I click what I don't want and I want those pulled away. I don't want any book reviews simply because book reviews are generally one or two paragraphs summarizing somebody else's work. And while that might be really helpful to find a larger source, if I need something to quote from and I need it now, a review is not going to help me. If I don't want any videos or conferences, I can X those out as well. Or you can just say, I only want to look at articles. It's entirely up to you. Now, my potentially favorite items here would be the subject and the creation date. I'm going to skip ahead for just a second here and go down to where it says creation date. Now, I do not have any hard and fast rules for how recent your information has to be, but my preference is for it to be within 5 years of now, whenever that is. So, at the time of this video recording, 5 years ago would be 2015. I prefer recent information simply because in this information age, things age out very quickly. We have new access to information daily, therefore, recency is of the essence. However, some of you might have some topics that rely on older resources. For example, if you're researching the effects of undiagnosed OCD in the 1800s, then clearly your research is going to have to come from around then or be earlier. So if you need older data, that's fine, but for most of us, we'll want something that's fairly new. So once I hit that, you'll see that dropped me from 17,000 down to 7,000. So I'm already making sure that I have something that I have access to. It's online, it's credible, it's recent. I'm just checking those boxes of credibility as I go through here. Lastly, you can go through where it says subject, and this is where you really start narrowing down what you want. So let's say that I wanted to look at the effects of OCD in adolescent females, and I'm going to put young adult in here too, and then care and treatment, because that's really what I want to give my presentation on. I can apply filters, and now I'm down to 2,500 results. And while again, I understand you probably will not have the time to go through 2,500 results, you now know that everything in the selection is going to be targeted towards what you were hoping to research and represent for us, which makes it much more manageable. So moving from the right-hand column to what's actually happening here in the middle of the page, I want to explain to you what all these little icons mean so that you can use them effectively. I'm going to come down to this one because it has the most. So the first one that I want to mention, I'm going to go from right to left, would be this little push pin icon here. If you click on that push pin, I want you to watch what happens. It popped it up there in the corner and then it highlighted that article. What that means is it is saving this article to a favorites tab so that you can find it later. The catch is that you have to come up here and sign in using your Northeast State or ETSU credentials in order to access those favorites. Otherwise, you just don't know. I mean, if you exit out of the browser, it deletes them. How you access those favorites is to come up here wherever you see that push pin and it says go to my favorites. You click there and it will have whatever item you have push pinned saved in your favorites now. But again, generally that function only works effectively if you are signed in, so make sure to do that. So if you want to save something, I really recommend you do that. Every semester, somebody finds an amazing resource and doesn't print it, save it, email it, download it to a flash drive or anything. And then they lose it, they can't find it again, and there's gorgeous research they no longer can use. So please push pin it and save it to your favorites. So anytime you come to the library page and log in, it will be there for you under your favorites. Another option is that you can use the envelope icon to email the article to yourself. I highly recommend that you do that. You just type your email address in there and hit send, and they will email it to you, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing because that way you have it saved in your favorites and in your inbox somewhere. The next item would be this little citation quotation mark here, and this will be very effective for those of you who have to build bibliographies or references. And I'll go ahead and tell you, if you are in one of my classes, you have to do this, so listen up. If you click on that citation icon there, then it's going to give you an option between MLA, APA, Chicago Turabian, MLA 8th, or Harvard. And for my classes, I'm fine with any edition of MLA or APA. That's fine as long. I prefer the most recent versions of everything, but just use what you're provided. And all you have to do is copy and paste this into a document, and there is your bibliography perfectly cited for you, which saves a ton of time. The only item that you have to make sure that you take care of would be this hanging indentation right here. Do you see how this is not all in the same line? How that first line is hanging out by itself? You need to physically do that on your computer, because when you copy and paste it, most times it will remove that indentation and you have to put it back. You are welcome to Google how to do that. You can seriously just go to Google or whatever search engine you use and type in how to do hanging indentation in Word, and it will pop up exactly how to do that for you. So hopefully that will save you some time. Next icon would be this arrow pointing down. If you click that one, it says find sources cited in this. What that's going to do is look at this article's bibliography and see how many of their articles this library possesses. So if this is a really amazing article, a very excellent pro tip for how to make your research life easier is just to use their references as the rest of yours. But you can't do that unless you have access to them. So that little red down arrow, if you click on that, helps you see if it has any of the items that are cited in that article, and it has 53 of them. So you can come in here, go through their reference list and the articles we have access to, and potentially find some other resources that are beneficial. You have your sources done, and it is a good life. Now, the other icon that we can get to is going to be the red arrows pointing up. Okay, so these red arrows pointing up says find sources citing this. And what that means is that it will bring back any sources in the library database that have used this as one of their references. So if I click that little red arrow, it now brings back 16 articles that have used this as one of their sources. So it's a very fast and effective way to build your bibliography quickly and effectively based off of work someone else has always done. I always say to work smarter, not harder. You do have to work hard, but you can work smart while you're doing it. So, your job is to essentially find one good article. And once you find one amazing article, you can use the tools built into the library to find additional sources to flesh out or flow out the rest of your bibliography. So that is essentially how to use the majority of the icons and tools that have been built into our library webpage. If you want to access the article itself immediately, most of them will have these download PDF icons where you can download a copy of the article to your computer or smartphone if you would choose. To find books instead of articles, essentially when we come up here and look at the material, you can just click for books only. In the virtual world we live in right now, I would really recommend that you go with online articles though. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I would recommend that you go back to the beginning and see if you can use all these resources on your own now and try out your own topic. Remember to start large and narrow it down afterwards. You have a wonderful day.